In the vast lands of Gansu province, the Murim alliance stands as the ultimate authority over all martial artists. At the very center of this powerful organization stands its leader, Hu Gong, a man known as the strongest in the martial world, a symbol of righteousness, a living legend, or at least that's what everyone believes. Because instead of training or discussing important matters, Hu Gong is sitting comfortably in front of a massive table filled with food, staring at the dishes with serious concentration. All right, what should I start eating first? This is the great alliance leader, more focused on his next meal than the piece of Murim. Suddenly, a calm yet urgent voice interrupts him. Alliance leader, I have an urgent matter to report. Is Jagal Hai his loyal strategist? Without even lifting his head, Hu Gong replies casually, I'm busy right now. Come back in 2 hours. Even while being called the strongest man alive, Hu Gong constantly tries to escape responsibility. He even jokes that his strategist should eat more to become charming like him. The atmosphere feels light, almost comedic, but that mood vanishes instantly when Jagal Hai delivers a single sentence. The Sword Saint has returned. Silence fills the room. 10 years ago, the Sword Saint was known as the world's strongest swordsman, a true genius of the blade. Then one day he disappeared without a trace. Now he has resurfaced, and he has sent a challenge to the alliance leader. Hu Gong's reaction isn't what anyone would expect. Of course I need to run away. Compared to being slashed by him, abandoning my role is 100 times better. The so-called strongest man is thinking about fleeing. He claims he's just lucky, that he gets breathless just from walking, that he's not built for real fights. But before he can continue joking, a wounded swordsman collapses into the hall, bloodied, barely alive, and he brings horrifying news. The Sword Saint did not come for a duel. He slaughtered an entire branch of the Murim alliance. Not only warriors, civilians too. Hu Gong's playful expression disappears instantly. There could only be one reason for that: energy deviation. In the martial world, energy deviation means madness. A warrior losing control of their inner power, their mind consumed by obsession. The once righteous Sword Saint has fallen, and now the truth is revealed. For 10 years he lived in jealousy, a hidden resentment toward Hu Gong, the man who stood above him. The Sword Saint mocks the monks of Shaolin, calling them rabbits as he cuts through their ranks without mercy. I'll teach Hu Gong humility by bringing him to his knees. I am the strongest man now. His pride has consumed him, his sanity shattered. Finally, the two legends stand face to face. The mad saint and the lazy leader. The Sword Saint unleashes everything he has. Sword energy tears through the air. The ground trembles beneath their power. But Hu Gong remains calm, effortless, unshaken. In that moment, the Sword Saint realizes the truth. He can never surpass Hu Gong. Not before, not now, not ever. The gap between them is overwhelming. Every strike the Sword Saint unleashes is filled with desperation. Every swing of his blade carries 10 years of jealousy and obsession. But against Hu Gong it means nothing. With calm, almost bored movements, Hu Gong dismantles the attack effortlessly. For the first time, the Sword Saint sees it clearly. The difference in their levels. It was never close. As his body collapses and blood stains the ground, the madness in his eyes slowly fades. Yet even in death, he refuses to let go. I saw it in the darkness. I saw you losing everything. A weak self, so fragile that even the wind can sway you. Your downfall. Before he can finish, Hu Gong cuts him off coldly. You're talking too much. And just like that, the strongest swordsman in history dies. Peace returns to Murim. Or at least, that's what everyone thought. 6 months later, Hu Gong wakes up, but something feels wrong. This isn't his bed. This isn't the grand residence of the alliance leader. His body feels light, too light, thin, weak, injured. He tries to stand, but nearly collapses after just a few steps. His breathing is unstable. His limbs tremble. Confused, he rushes toward a mirror, and freezes. The face staring back at him is not his. What is this? Did I become younger? He looks closer. Wait, this isn't how I looked when I was young. A terrifying realization hits him. That means a possession? Through some unknown force, the soul of the strongest man in Murim has been forced into another body. But not the body of a genius. Not the body of a warrior. The body of a frail, abused young master. His arms are thin. His body covered in old wounds. His internal energy almost non-existent. The man who once stood above the entire martial world can barely stand without support. No authority. No power. No respect. The legendary alliance leader is gone. In his place stands a weak young man from the Heavenly Grand Archive. Memories slowly settle into his mind. A neglected heir. Bullied. Looked down upon. Powerless inside his own household. Hugong clenches his trembling fists. This body may be weak, but his experience remains. His knowledge remains. His martial understanding remains. The Sword Saint's final words echo in his mind. Inside an unfamiliar room, the man slowly opens his eyes. Confusion immediately fills his mind. Who the hell is the owner of this body? How could someone just change his life like this? He lets out a deep sigh. As far as he remembers, he never had enemies who hated him enough to do something this extreme. Looking around the room, he notices expensive decorations and luxurious furniture. Everything about this place suggests that the household is extremely wealthy and powerful. But that only makes the situation stranger. If this family is so powerful, why does this body feel so weak and pathetic? His arms are thin, his breathing is unstable, and even moving feels difficult. For a moment, he wonders if someone might try to do something strange to the body he now inhabits. Should he confront whoever lives in this house? Or should he stay quiet and observe the situation first? Just as he is thinking about it, he suddenly hears footsteps approaching the room. Someone is coming. Maybe pretending to be asleep would be the safest option. But before he can decide what to do, the door slowly opens and an elderly man walks inside. The moment the old man sees that the boy is awake, a look of relief appears on his face. Instead of speaking formally, the old man gently calls him a child. That single word immediately confuses him. Why would someone call him a child instead of addressing him as the alliance leader? Could it mean this person has nothing to do with the mysterious soul exchange? As he looks more carefully at the old man, recognition suddenly strikes him. The man standing before him is the patriarch of the Heavenly Grand Archive. This family is one of the 3 great archives of the Central Plains, a place famous for producing incredible geniuses. They are known throughout the martial world for their knowledge of ancient texts and mysterious artifacts. And the man leading that family is considered one of the smartest people alive. His knowledge is so vast that even the greatest scholars of the current era cannot compare to him. The man remembers meeting him once before, about 4 or 5 years ago. Judging by his appearance now, it seems that not much time has passed since then. The old man suddenly holds out a small pill and calmly tells the boy to come closer and consume it. The words immediately raise suspicion. Medicine? What wish is he talking about? Since this body is extremely weak, maybe it is some kind of elixir meant to strengthen it. But something about the situation feels wrong. The old man's expression carries a deep sadness. And when he looks down at this body, he notices faint scars that clearly resemble suicide attempts. When he combines all those clues together, only one conclusion makes sense. That pill is not medicine. It is poison. When he questions it, the old man becomes angry. He scolds him harshly, saying that a grandson should never speak to his grandfather like that. That word immediately confirms something important. This man truly believes that the boy in front of him is his grandson. Realizing this, he quickly changes his tone and tries to speak more politely, but he still asks the same question again. Could that pill actually be poison? The old man does not deny it. Before swallowing anything, he asks one more question. Who is the current Murim alliance leader? But the question instantly triggers a furious reaction. The old man suddenly explodes with anger. He shouts that the boy had been begging to die for a long time. He even begged his own grandfather to kill him. So why is he suddenly asking about the Murim Alliance leader now? Wasn't dying what he wanted more than anything? The old man's anger fills the entire room. Realizing that he has accidentally provoked him, the boy quickly tries to calm the situation. He says he does not fully understand what happened before, but right now he has no intention of dying. It would be better to talk about everything tomorrow morning. But those words only make the old man even more furious. Before he can react, the old man suddenly grabs him and forces the pill into his mouth. Instinctively, he tries to use one of his martial techniques. But nothing happens. This weak body cannot even activate his skills. Panicking, he tries to escape, but the body is far too slow. The old man easily overpowers him and forces the pill down his throat. The bitter taste spreads instantly. The poison is already dissolving. If he were still in his original body, poison would be nothing more than a snack to him. But this fragile body cannot endure it. He begins coughing violently as the poison spreads through him. Watching him suffer, the old man speaks with painful sadness. He reminds him that this was the wish he had been begging for. Did he not say he wanted to die? Did he not say he did not care how painful it would be? Desperate, he shouts the truth. He says he is not the grandson. He is the Murim Alliance leader. But the old man only sighs sadly. Even though he granted the wish, it still hurts to watch his grandson suffer like this. As the poison spreads through his body, despair fills his mind. Is this really how he will die? In someone else's body? A body that does not even belong to him? Out of all the countless people in the world, why did his soul end up inside someone obsessed with suicide? He has not even discovered who caused the soul exchange yet. Dying like this feels unbearably unfair. But the reality is clear. If nothing changes, he will die here, alone, without even understanding what truly happened. In that desperate moment, he decides to use his final option. Gathering the last bit of strength he has left, he forces the words out. He begs his grandfather to spare his life. The sudden change shocks the old man. For a moment, the room falls completely silent. Then the old man panics and suddenly shouts for a doctor. And just like that, the desperate fight for survival begins. The physician calmly looked at the worried patriarch and spoke in a reassuring tone. You don't need to worry too much. His condition is stable now. Although there are still slight traces of poison left inside his body, it is no longer life-threatening. He then continued explaining the recovery. If his body recovers quickly, it may take about a month. Otherwise, at most 1.5 months for the remaining poison to completely leave his body. The physician sighed in disbelief. To survive after consuming blood mushroom venom, he is truly blessed by the heavens. Most people would have died instantly. But inside the room, the person lying on the bed was thinking something completely different. What? That was blood mushroom venom? He was completely speechless. In his mind, an image appeared, a grilled blood mushroom. Blood mushroom venom was famous for its deadly toxicity. But strangely enough, when it was grilled, its taste became richer and its aroma became incredibly delicious. It was extremely rare and very difficult to find. Because of that, it was considered a precious delicacy. For him, it used to be nothing more than a rare snack he occasionally enjoyed. And now, I almost died because of that? Tears almost formed in his eyes. All my life, people were the ones begging me to spare their lives. And now I almost had to beg for my life because of a stupid mushroom? His pride simply couldn't accept it. No way. I refuse to die because of a mere snack. Outside the room, the patriarch continued speaking with the physician. But there is something I don't understand. What did you mean when you said the young master begged you to spare his life? The physician slowly nodded. That is exactly what I heard. Honestly, I wouldn't have believed it myself if I hadn't heard it personally. Then he explained something strange. The young master felt different from usual. He didn't even recognize me. The patriarch's expression immediately turned serious. He couldn't recognize you? The physician continued carefully. There is a possibility that the poison affected his brain. In some cases, people lose their memories after severe poisoning. It's also common for their personality and the way they speak to change. The patriarch fell silent, clearly worried. Meanwhile, outside the residence, two young men were approaching the building. One of them was extremely drunk and struggling to walk. "Shut up. I'm fine." The other man tried to support him. "That's why I told you not to drink so much wine." But the drunk man only sneered. "More importantly, is that bastard still alive? It seems like he's asleep." The drunk man burst into laughter. "Haha. That lunatic can sleep at a time like this? Looks like he's going to live much longer than all of us." Inside the room, the person lying on the bed quietly observed everything. The eldest son of this family nearly died. Yet only 3 people came to visit him. He slowly raised his hands and looked at them. "This body belongs to the Heavenly Grand Archive's eldest young master. A man named Beom Hang. Someone who desperately wanted to die." Then another question filled his mind. How exactly did my soul end up inside this body? For now, he only had one priority. First, I need to recover this body enough so I can move it freely. At that moment, a young maid suddenly leaned very close to his face. Startled, she quickly stepped back. "My apologies, young master. There was something on your chin." He looked at her with slight annoyance. "Your face was way too close. Do you have bad eyesight?" But internally, he was shocked. How did I fail to detect someone entering the room? In my original body, I could sense even crawling insects within 50 meters. The maid looked at him curiously. "What is your name?" he asked.
I'm Songfa.
Then she hesitated before asking carefully. "Did the poison really damage your head, young master?" Trying to understand the current world, he asked another question. "Who is the current Murim Alliance leader?" The maid answered immediately. "The Alliance leader? Well, people say he's basically a pig. A huge pig. They say he's so fat that the fat on his cheeks keeps his eyes closed all the time." She continued speaking without hesitation. "And there's even a ridiculous rumor that he killed the sword saint half a year ago." The man lying on the bed suddenly froze. His head started to ache. How could someone talk so badly about another person behind their back? Then he suddenly shouted out loud. "He has great presence. Isn't he a great and amazing person who works hard to maintain peace and order in the martial world?" The maid looked at him in confusion, because the person she had just insulted was actually the soul currently inside this body. 10 days later, his condition had improved significantly. But that night, something strange happened. Suddenly, he began shouting in his sleep. "I'll kill you, you crazy bastard. How dare you die just like that?" Outside the room, the patriarch and the physician heard the scream and rushed in. The patriarch's eyes widened in shock. "Did you hear that? He didn't say he wants to die, right?" The physician's eyes filled with tears. "Yes, I definitely heard it. He said he would kill someone else." The patriarch couldn't hold back his emotions. There are no better words he could have said than this. For the first time in a long time, the young master who always wished for death had finally shown the will to live. The protagonist's mind was filled with confusion and fear. Did it just become impossible for me to return to my own body? A quiet sob escaped him. Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo-hoo. But even with that painful realization, he clenched his fists and forced himself to stand strong. "But I still can't give up just like this." With determination burning in his eyes, he called out to his attendant. "Songhwa, let's train." The sudden order shocked the attendant. "Yes." Meanwhile, somewhere else in the Heavenly Grand Archive, shocking news had reached the elder. "What did you just say?" "Beom Hang is doing push UPS." The subordinate nervously nodded. "It's true. The first young master has been working very hard in physical training for a few days now." He continued explaining what he had witnessed. At first, his arms were trembling, and he kept falling onto the ground. But now he's able to do up to 7 push-ups, and he's continuing to improve every single day. The elder stared at him with disbelief. "I really don't understand what you're saying. But why are you only reporting this now?" The The subordinate bowed his head apologetically. My apologies. Since his body condition was always in a bad shape, I thought he would stop training in no time. But he kept going. Not only has he been doing squats and horse stances recently, he has even begun doing splits. What? The elder slowly leaned back, deep in thought. I know my eldest grandson's body condition better than anyone. For him, even breathing is a strenuous exercise. But the subordinate wasn't finished yet. That's not the only strange thing. It seems he's been requesting meals, and he's eating quite a lot. He also drinks more than a bucket of water every day and has been training his body for several days straight. Hearing this, the elder's expression darkened. I think it can't be. Yes. It's the same as a year ago. 1 year ago, Beom Hang suddenly changed. He started acting cheerful, eating properly, even taking strolls with a smile on his face. It was as if he had started a brand new life. The elder paused, remembering the horrifying truth. However, when everyone finally let their guard down, he tried to hang himself. The subordinate's face turned pale. I'm sure he's training this hard so that he can end his life instantly. We mustn't let him become any stronger than this. We must stop him. At that moment, Beom Hang was seen training intensely. His body trembled as he forced himself to stretch further and further. I still don't remember anything. A shocked voice suddenly echoed nearby. What's wrong? Are you trying to split your legs right now? Yes. I can't waste a single second. My current body is soft, just like porridge. The elder looked at him carefully before asking, what do you intend to do from now on? First, I'll train my body, but there are still too many things I don't know, and too many things I have to do. Then he suddenly looked directly at the elder. I have something to say. Beom Hang died. What do you mean by that? The Heavenly Grand Archive's first young master, Beom Hang, is dead. Since he's dead, he can't be any more dead. The elder's eyes widened. Who are you? Calm yet terrifying answer followed. I am the world's strongest man. Later that night, in a tavern, two brothers were drinking together. Stop ruining the taste of the wine and just keep pouring more for me. But I'm curious about something. You've been quite busy lately, going somewhere every morning. A mocking smile appeared. Do you really think that bastard lost his memories? Do you really think he's training to become healthier? It's been a while since he became a demon. Only his death will bring peace to everyone. Those words caused the younger brother to slam the table. Please just talk to Big Brother instead of acting like this. Shut up. Didn't I tell you? I'd kill you myself if you called him that again. You're scared of Big Brother, aren't you? You brat. I'll show it to you then. I'll rip off that mask of his. The training yard was silent under the midnight moon. Sweat dripped from Beom Hang's chin as he pushed his body to its limit. His arms trembled while he forced himself through another push-up. Huff a huff. Nearby, Songhwa watched with sparkling eyes, practically jumping with excitement. 25. You did 25 push-ups without resting. Inside his mind, Beom Hang calmly assessed the situation. It was a world of difference compared to before, when this body had difficulty even walking. Without stopping, he rolled onto his back and began explosive sit-ups. 20 sit-ups without resting. The training continued like a fast-paced montage. His body moved again and again, growing stronger with every repetition. Soon he leapt into the air, performing squat jumps with increasing control. Inside his thoughts, a realization formed. He no longer had a problem moving. But even so, he still had a long way to go. Moments later, the yard grew quiet again as he lowered himself into a perfect horse stance. His posture was solid like a statue. My goodness! You've succeeded at maintaining horse stance for minutes. But Beom Hang wasn't satisfied. Let's try to go higher. Here we go. His muscles burned as he continued. 1. Ugh. 2. 3. Meanwhile, Songhwa looked more energetic than ever. You're doing so great. Let's do another 2 sets of 10. Beom Hang collapsed onto the ground, gasping for air. No. Let's just finish with 10. It'd be too tough beyond that. Songhwa suddenly clutched her cheeks, her eyes watering with emotion. Sir. Are you worried about me? I'm so moved. But don't worry. I'm enjoying this so much I can do this all night. I'm not talking about you. It's so tiring for me that I feel like I'm dying. Still, he forced himself back up. But I can't stop here. He kicked his legs upward, preparing for a handstand. Oh, you want to do handstands? I'll help you hold your legs. But suddenly, his eyes sharpened. Something had changed. Songhwa, that's not it. Someone is approaching. Let me down. A moment later, a silhouette appeared at the gate. A man walked in, looking arrogant and disheveled. Wow, what is this madness? A man and a woman doing weird intimate things in the middle of the night? Beom Hang looked at him calmly. So that must be his brother, Yoon. After all, who else would dare insult the first young master of the Heavenly Grand Archive like that? Yoon laughed mockingly. Crazy bastard. You're even doing handstands now. Beom Hang stepped forward slowly. Then his voice turned sharp. Then why are you behaving like some uneducated drunkard by cussing me out? Songhwa panicked immediately. Sir. You're being too loud. But Yoon only sneered. A drunkard? Did you just call me a drunkard? How pathetic. He leaned closer, his words turning cruel. Everyone wants you to die quickly. By yourself. Quietly. For a moment, the air froze. Then Beom Hang calmly turned his head. Bring me a stick. Soon, a simple wooden branch rested in his hand. He weighed it lightly. To others, it was just a stick. But in the hands of the world's strongest man, it might as well be a legendary sword. Let me give you a wake-up call today. Yoon laughed in disbelief. You want to beat me with that? Beom Hang looked toward the rooftops. The 4 bodyguards hiding right now. Don't any of you dare get involved in this fight. The next moment, the stick moved. Whack. Thud. The strikes landed so fast that Yoon couldn't even react. What? This crazy bastard. Pain exploded through his body. Nearby, Songhwa panicked and grabbed Beom Hang's arm. Sir, he'll really die at this rate. Please stop. But Beom Hang's voice was cold. Let me go. I'll kill this insolent brat today. For the first time, real fear filled Yoon's eyes. To hell with pride. At this rate, he would actually die. He immediately shouted. Big brother. Please spare me. I was wrong, big brother. Beom Hang stood above him like a judge. Get on all fours. I'll take 5 hits. Let's go with 7. The stick rose again. Smack. Engrave this into your heart. Reverse push-up. 25 rounds of strength smash. As the punishment continued, memories flooded Yoon's mind. Once upon a time, Beom Hang had been a genius, the person he respected the most. But when the family collapsed because of him, that respect turned into disappointment, and eventually, anger. Yet now, he had just been completely defeated by the same brother who once could barely move. Did he reach such a level in such a short time? Nearby, Beom Hang burst into tears and grabbed him. Brother, you let him hit you to boost his confidence, right? You even let him hit your crotch to make it look real. Yoon stared in disbelief. What? I let him hit me? Is that what it looked like? Inside his mind, fear grew deeper. Did his swings really look sloppy to everyone else? Because to him, those attacks were on an entirely different dimension. The next morning, the training yard was quiet again. Beom Hang practiced his swings with a serious expression. Songhwa watched admiringly. Sir, you were incredible last night. I was worried for the second young master. But Beom Hang shook his head. No. There was a problem. I wasn't able to perform those simple swings properly. He clenched his fist tightly. Inside his mind, the truth became clear. His soul still hadn't completely synchronized with Beom Hang's body. To truly reach his full power, he would need to unite his spirit, energy, and mind into one. And only then would the world truly witness the strength of the strongest man. The next morning, respectfully greets the person lying on the bed, asking if he slept well. Seeing him bow so politely is surprising. It seems that whatever happened yesterday finally made him come back to his senses. With a small laugh, he points out that both of them must have slept well. Although judging by the swollen eyes, it seems someone cried quite a bit. Then, with a warm expression, he thanks him sincerely. But before anything else, he asks if he would accompany him to a certain place. At that moment, two more people appear at the doorway and greet the room. One of them bows respectfully to the grandfather, but suddenly notices someone lying on the bed and reacts in shock. The grandfather smiles warmly and says it has been a long time, mentioning that he heard the young man is finally much healthier now. Looking at the people in the room, everything begins to connect in his mind. These are family members he hasn't interacted with for a long time. It becomes clear that someone didn't avoid visiting him. He simply couldn't. Watching this strange family atmosphere, he can't help but think about how difficult it is to find someone normal inside the heavenly grand archive. Meanwhile, the grandfather grabs his hands tightly with tears in his eyes, overwhelmed with joy that such a day has finally come. But as those weak hands tremble, concern appears. Even though he says he is happy because the grandfather is happy, he asks seriously where the pain is coming from. The grandfather hesitates, avoiding eye contact, before awkwardly saying that he lost his memories. Then he quickly explains that it isn't really an illness, just a problem of the mind, and that he will recover soon. However, something feels strange. It looks like fear. Analyzing the situation, it becomes obvious that the old man is scared of him. If it is a sickness of the mind, then the cause is probably someone else. The grandfather suddenly becomes emotional and explains dramatically that someone started drinking day and night as if struck by a strange wind. And because of that, how could he possibly recover peacefully? To calm him down, he gently smiles and says that if that person ever acts like that again, he should help teach him a proper lesson. The grandfather quickly agrees, saying there is nothing to worry about anymore. Soon after, the others excuse themselves and leave the room together. Once they are gone, a serious expression forms. After meeting everyone, one thing becomes clear. The corruption within the heavenly grand archive seems to have started with the previous version of himself. His uncle couldn't even look him in the eyes while speaking. And it wasn't just him, almost everyone in this household reacted the same way. What exactly happened here? What happened to the heavenly grand archive? And what happened to the original person who owned this body? If the truth can be uncovered, then maybe the lost memories can be recovered as well. Elsewhere, two family members continue walking together. One calls out, asking what he has been thinking about so deeply. The other awkwardly laughs and says it's nothing. But his memories are already such a mess that remembering things from childhood seems impossible. The conversation shifts to the past. Whenever he used to think deeply back then, there was always one place he would go. The archive. They used to go there to find him all the time. But after he changed, they rarely saw him anywhere, especially not in the archive. Hearing this suddenly sparks a realization. That's it. The archive might hold clues about the missing memories. With excitement, he rushes off toward that place. Watching him leave, one of them becomes flustered, while the other sighs in relief and remarks that his personality has completely changed. Back in the room, the grandfather rests peacefully, relieved that the burden in his heart has finally disappeared. He even whispers that he hopes those memories will never return. But suddenly, panic erupts. Someone bursts through the door shouting that there is big trouble. The young master has gone to the archive to search for clues about his memories. The grandfather freezes in terror. If those memories return in that place, it could lead to disaster. Outside, a large traditional building stands quietly. This is the archive, a place where traces of the past might still remain. Slowly, the heavy wooden doors open. Inside, everything is covered in thick dust. It looks like the place hasn't been used in a very long time. Looking around the dark room, something suddenly catches the eye. A single book. Compared to the others, it has far less dust on it. The title reads, Winter. If there's less dust on it, that means someone must have read it more recently than the other books. Strangely, the book is placed upside down. Turning it around carefully, a hidden mechanism suddenly activates. A secret compartment opens beneath the stand. Inside are several letters. Looking through them, it becomes clear that they were all sent at different times, but from the same person. The sender's name appears. Juyang. This raises an important question. Was the previous owner of this body secretly communicating with someone outside the Heavenly Grand Archive? Maybe this person was even involved in the mysterious soul transfer. For now, the letters are carefully stored away to read later. But just as the search continues, something unexpected happens. A sudden flash of light erupts. A powerful force throws him backward. The scenery around him suddenly begins to change. When he finally looks around again, everything is different. Snow covers the ground. Cold wind blows through a quiet courtyard. It's an illusion. The book titled Winter lies nearby in the snow. Turning the book the correct way must have activated this strange trap. The cold feels incredibly real. So real that even the hands begin to freeze. At this rate, frostbite could happen. Then suddenly, a gentle voice calls out. As he looks up, a memory begins to unfold before his eyes. A young boy stands in the snow while his mother approaches him with a warm smile. She grabs his freezing red hands and worries about how cold they must be. But the boy stubbornly insists that he's fine. After all, he says he's a man. His mother laughs softly and reminds him that even men feel cold. She removes her mittens and gives them to him. The boy hesitates, worried that her hands will freeze instead. But she simply smiles and suggests finishing the snowman quickly. Looking down, she notices something surprising. There aren't just one, but 3 snowmen. 2 big ones, and a small one in the middle. Family. She laughs happily and says they should show them to his father. Embarrassed, the boy quickly tries to stop her from telling him. Watching this memory unfold, a soft smile appears. This must be a happy memory. But suddenly, the scene begins to change again. The season shifts. Now plum blossoms drift gently through the air. Inside a room, the father sits beside someone lying in bed. The mother is sick. A harsh cough echoes through the quiet room. Despite her fragile condition, she smiles gently and says how wonderful it is to see the plum blossoms together with her family. Spring will arrive soon. The father holds her hand tenderly and promises that they will watch the flowers bloom together when that time comes. Suddenly, she notices someone standing at the door. Calling him over, she gently touches his face. But tears are already streaming down his cheeks. With pure love in her eyes, she softly tells him, "I love you." Watching this heartbreaking memory unfold, even the observer cannot hold back the emotions. Tears silently fall. A faint voice echoes inside his mind. "Why are you crying?" Another gentle voice follows. "Hang, I love you." Suddenly he opens his eyes. For a moment, confusion fills his mind. "Ah, I see. What's happening?" Tears slowly run down his face. Only then does he realize something shocking. The memories of Beom Hang that remained inside this body have finally awakened. If this illusion continues, he is certain he will remember the rest of Beom Hang's memories. And it seems he has entered another memory. The scene becomes clearer. Why did you also pass away in vain? The memories slowly return. This happened 10 days after Beom Hang's mother passed away. The man who once stood strong had aged drastically in just a few days. Losing his wife had completely broken him. A weak voice speaks again. "Hang, I'm sorry." So this was how Beom Hang was abandoned in this world. Snow begins to fall as another memory appears. "Big brother, are you all right?" Then a familiar voice calls out. "Beom Hang." "Father, what's the matter?" The memory shifts again. Standing beneath blooming plum blossoms, a young boy speaks with a trembling voice. "Mother, father, you said we would watch the plum blossoms together when spring comes, right? The flowers are already blooming so beautifully. But where are you two?" The boy looks at the falling petals and whispers quietly. Are you already watching the plum blossoms together somewhere else? After a moment of silence, he makes a heartbreaking decision. In that case, I'll go to where you are. Suddenly, several voices shout in panic. Brother! Stop! What are you doing? Why are you making such a big fuss? But the boy calmly answers them. I'm just going to the place where I belong. At that moment, realization strikes. This is it. I'm remembering everything. All the memories finally return. Suddenly, voices echo around him. Hang? Big brother. Sir. He slowly opens his eyes. Ha! A worried voice speaks. Sir, are you okay? He lets out a deep sigh before suddenly laughing. Ha ha ha. I guess you guys came here to read books since it's been a while. The people around him stare in confusion. What kind of random joke is that? Big brother? Brother, we were worried because you fainted. Hang, are you all right? He casually replies. Yes, of course I'm fine. I just ended up in a snowfield because a trap formation was activated. But the worried voice continues. That's exactly why I'm asking if you're okay. Inside his mind, a thought appears. Could it be? Did he really recover all of his memories? Suddenly he grabs his head. Ugh! My head! Everyone around him panics. Big brother! Sir! Hang! After a moment he mutters quietly. This is what usually happens when memories return. Right? Yes. One of them suddenly shouts. Sir! Your joke has gone too far. Songhwa. What? Yoon. Bumong. And grandfather. I'm alright. You don't need to worry about me anymore. Yes. Then he quietly declares something. I will never fall again. At that moment, a faint voice echoes. I can finally die in peace now. And the original soul slowly disappears. The next morning feels incredibly refreshing. Feels as if he had been sleeping for days. His body feels light, and his mind is clearer than ever. Then a sudden thought appears. That's right. I can finally do that now. He calmly calls out. Listen. Yes, sir. I will be meditating from now on. Do not allow anyone to enter my room until I come out myself. He pauses before adding one more condition. That includes my grandfather. Yes, sir. Inside his mind, he sighs. That wasn't a very confident reply. They are still anxious. But that can't be helped. Trust will have to be built slowly. For now, something more important must be done. He needs to circulate his energy. Now that Beom Hang's memories have fully returned, his soul has completely merged with this body. His energy core has opened, and his internal energy is beginning to take shape. While searching through Beom Hang's memories, he also discovered an important truth. Beom Hang had absolutely nothing to do with the soul exchange. There was no trace of it anywhere in his memories. The letters exchanged with Juyong were suspicious, but Beom Hang himself had nothing to do with it, which means the soul exchange was likely done by someone else, an external party. And if someone truly has the power to manipulate souls like this, catching them will not be easy. That is why one thing matters more than anything else. He must return to his original level of power. Fortunately, he has already done it once before. 5 years, maybe 10 at most. That should be enough time for him to recover his former strength. And with elixirs, rare herbs, and mystical creatures, could happen even faster. Luckily, this place is perfect for growing stronger. The Heavenly Grand Archive is known as the impenetrable fortress of Jianghu. This territory is as vast as a mountain. Trap formations cover the walls, buildings, and even the narrow alleys. Hidden mechanisms are installed everywhere. There is no place safer than this. On top of that, the family itself is extremely wealthy. Their history stretches back for generations. If Beom Hang asked for it, they could easily obtain precious treasures like mountain ginseng or fleece flower root. And he plans to use every resource available, because he has no intention of simply living as the Heavenly Grand Archive's first son. No matter what anyone says, he is Hugong, not Beom Hang. But suddenly, something catches his attention. But what are those guys doing there? Soft whispers spread through the room. But what are those guys doing there? Why does his face look so shiny? That's what I'm wondering too. His skin used to look rough and dark, but now it looks completely different. Smooth, bright, almost like a maiden's. An uneasy feeling creeps in. This should be a good sign, so why does it feel so wrong? Grandfather, you're talking too loudly. Oh, is that so? Yes. A brief, awkward laugh follows. Sorry. Then suddenly, achoo! Everyone flinches. Silence fills the air. And then, calmly, greetings. Greetings to you as well. The sudden change leaves everyone speechless. After a moment, concern breaks the silence. Why were you meditating for hours without eating anything? Did something happen? Even now, the doubt is clear. They still don't fully trust him. And honestly, it makes sense. This body had already betrayed them once before. A quiet breath escapes. Ha! I'm different now. I've recovered all my memories. Is that so? You recovered your memories. I'm still the same as yesterday. You don't have to worry. Are you really all right now? Father. Grandfather.
Emotions spill over.
Relief. Disbelief. Even tears. For a moment, hesitation sets in. Should he cry along with them? Or stay composed? But his thoughts quickly shift. Now that he has those memories, everything is clear. The Heavenly Grand Archive truly deserves its title as one of the greatest. Even at a glance, hundreds of trap formations are visible. And more importantly, every single one is already understood. This knowledge, this mind will not go to waste. It's time to act. Grandfather. HM? What is it? I'd like to talk to you. Komein. There are too many things inside the Heavenly Grand Archive. Things that have rotted away over time. To uproot everything. And rise back to the top. Only one thing is needed. Elixirs. Yes. My body is getting stronger now. I want to push it even further. That's great. Don't worry. I'll do everything I can. For now, use the mountain ginseng and tuber fleece flower in the secret vault. They're nearly 100 years old. More than good enough. I'll personally pick the best ones. Wait here. Yes. A brief pause. What are you all doing here? Haha. Perfect timing. I have something to discuss with you as well. Alright, go ahead. What is it? Monitor the current state of the Heavenly Grand Archive for 3 days. Record everything and report back to me. And not just internal matters. I want details on external businesses, nearby clans, everything. A casual response comes back. There's no need for that. The clan manager knows everything. Just ask him. What? He's currently away handling external matters. He'll be back in 10 days. The clan manager, a trusted figure who held everything together. But even so, this is too much. How can someone from the main family know nothing about their own clan? A shift in tone. All right, then let's spar. I was curious how strong you've become. Get on the ground. What? Who owns the Heavenly Grand Archive? You? Or the clan manager? The pressure is overwhelming. Have you forgotten your place after drinking all the time? I'll gather the information myself. Pathetic. Go. Damn it. I just recovered. The focus shifts again. You've always had talent in trap formations, right? Yes. How many trap formations are deployed in the estate? Pardon. How many? More than 100. Get on the ground. Please forgive me. I'll do better. You've been wasting your time. It's 1:24. You may be the youngest. But how can you ignore your own clan? Where are you using that talent? A nervous voice mutters. Am I next? You get 3 days as well. Choose anyone to help you. Inspect every trap, inside and outside the estate. If repairs are needed, handle them immediately. If it takes time, report it. And don't just check them individually. Make sure they all function together. Yes. A confident voice steps forward. Sir, I'm doing well. Just tell me what to do. Take a brush. Write down what I'm about to say. Me? Why me? Didn't you ask for instructions? A brief pause. All right, start with this. Tu Juyang. Wait. If this letter is for Sir Yang, wouldn't it be better if you wrote it yourself? Calm reply follows. If the handwriting is different, he won't trust it. But internally there's a problem. Even my handwriting is different. I've already tried several times, but no matter how much I practice, I can't perfectly replicate it. It may look similar at a glance, but up close the difference is obvious. Handwriting is like a fingerprint. There's a limit to how much it can be imitated. Before sending the letter, the contents will be reported anyway. A confused reaction follows. There's no point wasting time explaining the contents or dealing with unnecessary suspicion over handwriting. That's why someone else will write it. I already said it, didn't I? I want to see your handwriting. But it's fine. The letter will simply invite Juyang to the Heavenly Grand Archive. A sudden burst of excitement. Really? I'll finally get to see Sir Yang again. A brief pause. Are you that happy? Of course. He's manly, loyal. The best. A small, unimpressed thought slips through. Yeah. The best. Huh. Sir. Please tell me what to write quickly. I'll make it perfect. Well, if we're only talking about appearances, maybe. But based on the letters exchanged so far, that man doesn't seem entirely sane. If she knew the truth about those two, she wouldn't be praising him like this. Putting that aside, the clan manager won't return for another 10 days. How ridiculous! How dare he take his time like that? Meanwhile, elsewhere, a quiet voice speaks from the shadows. So, the young master of the Heavenly Grand Archive has changed, has he? It seems the two of you don't really know him yet. Even if the whole world changes, he won't. He's simply acting the same way he always has. I've supported him, and waited for him for a very long time. A pause. I waited so long, I almost got bored. So, suddenly, crash, the sound of a vase shattering echoes loudly. And from the shadows, a figure finally reveals himself. We should help him out a little. The story begins with a strange and overwhelming stench spreading through the estate. So foul that it becomes impossible to ignore. Unable to endure it any longer, Beom Hang leans out the window in disgust, wondering what kind of unbearable smell could be this intense. Even in his vast experience, nothing compares. Not even the infamous stench of legendary figures he once knew. Trying to stay composed, he activates one of his martial techniques, pressure point shift. This defensive skill allows him to manipulate his pressure points, making it difficult for opponents to restrain him while also opening opportunities for counterattacks. However, in his current weakened body, he realizes he can only maintain it for about 15 minutes. Still, he considers that much progress acceptable. Calling for his servant, he questions the origin of the smell. Even she looks sickened and confirms that the stench appeared suddenly out of nowhere. Deciding it's best not to stay and risk harm, even joking about his elegant skin rotting, they leave the area immediately. Outside, the cause of the chaos is revealed. A man had been attempting to repair a trap formation at the eastern entrance, but something went wrong. Instead of fixing it, he accidentally disrupted a ventilation mechanism, causing the terrible odor to spread everywhere. Though he insists it wasn't intentional and others support his claim, the situation remains unresolved. Eventually, Beom Hang orders him to thoroughly investigate and fix the issue, assigning another member to assist. As for himself, he chooses to head into town, not to escape the smell, but to gather information. He wants to understand the current state of the Jianghu and what the Murim Alliance has been doing since the death of his previous self. Once in the bustling streets, he fails to find anyone familiar. With no leads and growing thirsty, he decides to take a break at a nearby inn. Inside, while casually observing the surroundings, he spots a few recognizable figures, young masters from notable clans. Though not personally close to them, they could be useful sources of information. Instead of approaching immediately, he chooses to quietly observe and wait for the right moment. But the calm atmosphere doesn't last long. A loud commotion suddenly breaks out that an angry customer begins shouting at the staff, claiming there was a mosquito in his soup. Despite the owner apologizing and offering compensation, the man refuses to back down and demands an outrageous sum of money. Quickly becomes clear, this is nothing but extortion. Annoyed by the disturbance while trying to eat in peace, Beom Hang decides to step in. He offers to pay the demanded amount himself, simply to end the chaos. At first, it seems like the situation is resolved. But the moment the thug looks at him, everything changes. Seeing his refined appearance and seemingly weak presence, the man assumes he's an easy target. Greed takes over. Instead of accepting the money, he raises the demand even higher. That's when Beom Hang's patience runs out. With a simple command, his servant steps forward. In an instant, the situation flips completely. A powerful punch lands straight into the thug's stomach, followed by a swift kick that sends him flying across the room and crashing through the doors. The entire inn falls silent. Without making a scene, Beom Hang calmly compensates the owner for the damages and walks out as if nothing happened. But outside, the real trouble begins. A group of thugs gathers around the injured man in the street. They belong to a sect, and they're clearly not happy. When asked who did this, the beaten man points directly at the servant. For a moment, fear crosses her face, but she quickly steels herself as a bodyguard. She steps forward and positions herself in front of her master. She warns them to watch their words and even tries to intimidate them by invoking his status. But it has no effect. The gang leader scoffs, completely unimpressed. Then, without hesitation, he orders his men to attack. The street erupts into chaos as the gang charges forward. Inside the inn, the young masters who were being observed earlier notice the commotion and look outside. First, they're only curious. But the moment they get a clear look, their expressions change instantly. Shock fills their faces, because they recognize him. The man standing at the center of it all is none other than the first young master of the Heavenly Grand Archive. The story picks up with our protagonist, the young master of the Heavenly Grand Archive, calmly observing a street confrontation. He isn't worried. He knows his personal guard possesses exceptional martial prowess. With 4 other escorts assisting her, he's confident they can resolve the chaos without any of his people getting a scratch. Suddenly, a voice calls out to him. 2 noble young masters from prestigious clans approach, surprised to see him out and about. They ask if he even remembers them. Maintaining his facade of a sickly but polite noble, the young master greets them warmly. He explains that his health has finally improved, allowing him to leave the house for the first time in a long while. He's the picture of grace, suggesting that they shouldn't stand in the street talking. Instead, he invites them to a nearby inn to share some tea and catch up, casually mentioning that his escorts can handle the commotion behind them. As they walk, they are joined by 2 noble ladies, daughters of influential sect leaders. The group is stunned by the young master's presence. Behind his back, the ladies whisper, recalling rumors that he was a dead man walking or a total shut-in. However, seeing him now, vibrant, polite, and handsome, they realize the rumors were dead wrong. They find his personality charming and decide to tag along to see what kind of man he truly is. While his guard is busy subduing thugs in the background, the young master sits with his new companions. They discuss the current state of the martial world, noting the discord following the death of the Murim Alliance leader. The young master plays along, observing that everyone is walking on eggshells because they can't believe such a powerful figure is truly gone. He speaks of the late leader with a strange sense of respect, calling him a man who could reach the heavens. He even jokingly mentions that the leader's only flaw was being a bit chubby, which he personally finds quite cool. This earns him a laugh from the others, who are impressed by his broad-mindedness and insight into world affairs. As evening falls, the young master bids them farewell, promising to meet again if fate allows. The observers left behind are convinced. The unparalleled genius of the archive is back, and the martial world is about to hear a lot more about him, perhaps even at the upcoming Heavenly Dragon Summit. But as the young master returns to his family estate, the atmosphere shifts from elegant to putrid. A foul, gut-wrenching stench hangs over the grounds. He meets his grandfather, the patriarch, who is visibly disturbed. Something has been unearthed from the ground during the renovations. A servant reports that the stench has been reduced slightly, but the source is something truly vile. In a sudden burst of energy, the young master shouts for them to bring it to him. The hexacrest viper. This creature is a rare mystical beast from the Imugi family. It's a red-bodied snake with a yellow hexagonal crest on its head and strangely vibrant green blood. The narration explains the legend. Drinking the green blood of this viper can exponentially increase one's internal energy and grant total immunity to poison. But there is a catch. The smell is so unimaginably foul that most people vomit the blood back up before it can take effect. Furthermore, to get the full benefit, one cannot use a bowl. The blood must be sucked directly from the living viper. To the horror of everyone present, the young master doesn't hesitate. As he begins to consume the blood, the room is filled with a stench so powerful it sends the family doctor and the servants running for their lives. Even the patriarch, unable to stomach the scene or the smell, flees the room, cursing his useless subordinates as they all scramble for fresh air. Left alone in the stinking room, the young master wipes his mouth. He admits the smell is killing him, but he endures it. He knows this is his ticket to regaining his peak power within 5 years. He reveals his grand plan. The viper is just the first of the 3 evils, the 3 foulest substances in existence. If he can find the mystical vile herb and the poison yang beetle to go with this, his power will rival that of the 5 great mystical creatures. He calls his lead attendant back into the room. The poor man is trembling, covering his nose. The young master hands him the remains of the snake, but not to throw it away. He gives very specific ancient instructions. The skin must be dried for 4 days in the sun and 7 days in the shade. Once processed, it becomes a miraculous remedy for lethargy and energy loss. Finally, the young master orders 5 days' worth of grain balls. He tells his guards that he is entering total seclusion to maximize the viper's effects. For the next 5 days, he will eat nothing else and see no one. His last task for his guard is to tell the patriarch to track down the other 2 evils. As his attendants flee the room one last time to escape the lingering odor, the young master watches them go with a smirk, jokingly calling them heartless for leaving him alone in his smelly victory. The path to the top of the martial world is a foul one, but he is more than willing to walk it. 5 grueling, agonizing days have passed since our protagonist choked down the foul-smelling, green blood of the legendary hexacrest viper. We open on the young heir as he exhales a deep, centering breath, dramatically announcing that he has finally broken through to become a 2-star martial artist. The physical upgrades are immediate and undeniable. He notes that his eyesight has leveled up entirely, and his sense of hearing has become razor-sharp. However, this newly upgraded hearing instantly brings him a headache. Right next to him, his 2 loyal guards are loudly and happily munching away on bland grain balls. The young master glares at them, utterly baffled. He scolds them, asking why on earth they are starving themselves with grain balls when he was the one who had to endure eating the disgusting viper. He sighs, telling them to just endure it a little longer since today is finally the 5th and last day of his seclusion. Despite his outward complaints, the young master watches the 2 guards eat with a begrudging fondness. He internally muses that the 2 brothers he acquired in his late years really aren't that bad. In fact, the more time he spends with them, the cuter and more delightfully nonsensical their antics become. Looking down at his own body, he realizes his clothes are completely ruined, stained dark by a thick layer of impure waste. This is actually a massive victory. The remaining toxic impurities in his system have been entirely purged because his mind, spirit, and body have finally synchronized into one. He touches his face, noting that he is actually starting to get used to the reflection of this new body. Still, the supreme martial artist inside him is a perfectionist. He critically examines his thin hands, determining that he desperately needs to pack on some fat and muscle if his signature palm strikes are going to look good and hit with actual force. Eager to test out his refined 2-star capabilities, he briefly considers finding someone to use as a sparring dummy. However, he quickly scraps that idea, realizing that picking a fight right now would just make the situation unnecessarily messy. Instead of fighting, he decides to test his internal control by using a body adjustment technique. Starting with his right arm, a series of sickening cracks and pops echo through the room as he manually shifts and realigns his own bones. He reflects on the traditional use of this technique, which is typically utilized by thieves to squeeze into incredibly narrow spaces. The young master finds this completely ridiculous. If a space is too small, a true martial artist should just smash the walls to widen it. To him, adjusting one's bones is far more useful as a deceptive tactic in hand-to-hand combat. The only problem is his current 2-star body executes the maneuver far too slowly. This sluggishness triggers a hilarious memory from his past life as the supreme martial leader. He recalls an eccentric monk from a secret Buddhist order showing off a so-called God's technique. In the flashback, the monk excitedly demonstrates how he can turn his physical body into air in an instant to escape any trap. The monk proudly claims it is leagues above simple bone adjustment. The young master's past self simply stared blankly at the monk and asked, "Why must you get stuck in a place to begin with? Can't you just kill everyone before you get stuck?" Snapping back to the present, he still shakes his head, utterly unable to comprehend why anyone would learn such a useless defensive art. His training is suddenly interrupted by a polite knock. His loyal shadow attendant enters bearing a fresh set of clothes, noticing that the young master's body seems much lighter after his training. The attendant nervously mentions that he needs to leave immediately to attend a mandatory assembly for the estate's escort squad. The young master waves him off, telling him not to bother reporting such trivial matters and to hurry along so he isn't late. The fiercely loyal attendant insists he is the master's shadow and must report everything, but eventually sprints out the door. The narrative then sweeps over to the tense, serious atmosphere of the escort assembly. The captain of the guard stands before his men, delivering an impassioned speech. He declares that their young master has completely abandoned his past, pathetic self and is now stepping up as the true successor and representative of the archive. Because the master will now interact with highly reputable outsiders, the squad's duty is no longer just physical protection. They must ensure his grand reputation is never sullied. The captain then drops a massive piece of intelligence on his troops. The thugs they recently fought outside were actually members of the Guanghui sect. Word on the street is that this hostile sect is currently mobilizing to attack the archive and repay the humiliation they suffered. The captain rallies his men, shouting that they must protect everyone in the estate, as that is their ultimate reason for existence. Right at the peak of his heroic speech, a messenger approaches the captain with baffling news. The young master is actively looking for him. The captain is visibly confused, noting that the young master has never directly summoned him before. Thinking it must be a dire emergency, the captain excuses himself from the assembly and hurries through the corridors, hoping nothing serious has happened. The captain arrives and knocks on the young master's door. Inside, the young master is highly suspicious. He remembers his attendant saying the assembly was currently happening, so why is the captain here? Scanning the original body's memories, he confirms he has absolutely no special relationship with this man. The captain enters the room, claiming he has a matter of utmost importance that cannot be delayed. When the young master asks what it is, a dark, sinister smirk spreads across the captain's face. The captain smoothly states that he would like to support the young master more actively. The heir is utterly bewildered, replying that he never asked for any help. Without warning, the captain drops his loyal facade. Reaching for his weapon, his eyes lock onto the young master with lethal intent. The episode ends on a massive cliffhanger as the traitorous captain draws his blade and asks one chilling question: "Don't you need to die?" The chapter opens in a dimly lit room where the air is thick with treachery. Two high-ranking members of the archive are whispering in the dark. One of the traitors expresses a chilling confusion, wondering why the first young master suddenly refused to consume the blood mushroom venom. His partner sneers, suggesting that perhaps the boy wanted to drag more people down to the afterworld with him than just the patriarch. While they were frustrated that their initial assassination attempt failed, they now realize it might be a blessing in disguise. If the first young master commits suicide now, under the current tension, the heavenly Grand Archive will crumble into absolute chaos. However, a seed of doubt remains. They've heard rumors from the second young master that the useless heir has started learning martial arts. Stepping out from the shadows, the captain of the guards lets out a dismissive laugh. He tells his co-conspirators they are being far too cautious. Even if the boy has learned a few moves, the captain is certain he is no threat to them. Since these two are trusted figures within the archive, no one will suspect them as the plan moves forward. The captain reminds them of the ultimate goal. The first young master must die by suicide. Killing him openly would be messy and complicated, but if he resists, the captain's eyes turn cold as he suggests simply cutting the boy's throat and framing it as a self-inflicted end afterward. Elsewhere, Beom Hang, the first young master, looks at the blade held by the captain with a weary sigh. He isn't afraid. He's disappointed. He wonders just how deep this rot goes and when the betrayal truly began. With a calm, almost mocking smile, Beom Hang tells the captain that while everyone thinks he still wants to die, he's actually changed his mind. He declares that he is no longer the weak man he used to be. The captain doesn't waste time with words. Moving with professional speed, he strikes Beom Hang in two vital locations, the Great Palace Point and the Cycle Gate Point. These are precision strikes meant to paralyze the entire body instantly. The captain begins to gloat, looking down at the helpless boy. He calls him unlucky, mocking him for finally wanting to live just as death has come to claim him. He paints a gruesome picture of the future. The patriarch will die, the young master's uncle will fall, and his brothers will be driven to madness and alcoholism until the archive is nothing but a memory. But then Beom Hang speaks. His voice is steady, and his eyes are piercing. "You sure talk a lot," he says, before demanding to know who else is involved in the plot. The captain's jaw drops in pure shock. Beom Hang is moving. Despite having his paralysis point struck, the young master stands perfectly fine, possessing a peculiar technique the captain can't comprehend. As the captain lunges in a rage, Beom Hang effortlessly parries him, coolly warning him not to break the expensive furniture in the room. The captain tries to use his most intimidating stances, dragon styles, tiger styles, but Beom Hang just laughs them off, asking if the man is trying to imitate a cat. With total dominance, Beom Hang sets a timer. "I'll give you 15 minutes, he says. "Do your best within that time." For the next quarter hour, the captain becomes a desperate man. He realizes the rumors were true. This boy is a monster. He abandons the suicide plan and tries to commit flat-out murder, but it's useless. No matter how hard the captain strikes, Beom Hang dodges every blow, as if he's simply taking a stroll through a park. The captain is losing his mind. He's within arm's reach, yet he can't even graze the boy's clothes. Suddenly, the air in the room turns heavy. Beom Hang's playful expression vanishes. "It's been 15 minutes, he says coldly. "Time to teach you a lesson." What follows is a brutal display of power. Beom Hang strikes back with terrifying precision. He mocks the captain, telling him he should have stayed down after the first beating. The captain, now broken and bleeding on the floor, begs for mercy, but the young master he once knew is gone. The chapter ends with Beom Hang looming over the traitor, his face twisted into a dark, terrifying grin. He grabs the captain by the chin and asks the one question that will seal the fate of the archive. And that wraps up this chapter. Let's jump straight into the next one. The scene opens right where we left off, with the air thick with tension. First young Master Beom Hang looms over the defeated escort captain. Hang's eyes narrow as he asks, "You're working with someone," but before he can extract an answer, he pauses. "Wait, be quiet. Someone's approaching. Who is it?" Two of them." Suddenly, the doors burst open. It's Yoon and Beom Hang, rushing in completely out of breath. "Yoon, Beom Hang, run here. Hang!" They yell out. They're totally oblivious to the absolute carnage in the room. They laugh awkwardly, asking, "How did you know we were coming? Hang? Were you waiting for US? You even opened the door to welcome US?" but their laughter dies instantly as they catch sight of the gruesome scene on the floor. Trembling, they point and stutter. Hang, what's that? What's that monster-looking pile of meat? Hang doesn't even blink, he replies flatly. The two of them are utterly flabbergasted. What? The escort captain, Cheon Gyuan. In a hilarious attempt to deny the terrifying reality that Hang just beat a man to a pulp, they immediately start making up ridiculous excuses. That's it. The captain had a stroke, right? To think stroke is such a scary thing. We need to take him to a physician right away. One blurts out, while the other frantically agrees. I also think we should do that. Hang sighs, shutting down their comedic panic. That's not it, he says, turning his cold gaze back to the ruined captain on the floor. Now speak. Tell us how this thing started, who's leading it, and who the people involved are. The captain, now completely broken and desperate, grovels for his life. Spare me. I have committed a mistake. Please, I'll tell everything. So please spare my life. He drops the bombshell. The clan manager is leading this thing. He goes on to list the traitors, revealing there are a total of 8 accomplices. The escort captain himself, the vice captain, and 6 other escorts. On top of that, there's 1 traitor from the scholar side and 5 from the manpower management and accounting team. Yoon and Beom are outraged. How dare clan manager GWAK do this? What? How could someone do something so outrageous? But Hang immediately puts them in their place. He's not the only one to be blamed. What have you guys been doing this whole time? But what on earth were you guys doing while the household turned into this shitshow? Sweating bullets, the two admit they probably weren't in their right minds either. With the truth out, Hang shifts into absolute boss mode. He issues his orders. Beom Hang, I want you to activate the outer trap formations and put the archive on lockdown. His tone leaves no room for argument. You mustn't allow even an ANTTO get out of this place. When asked if they should inform their grandfather, Hang smoothly replies, "It won't be too late to tell him all of this after we're done taking care of it." Yoon tries to suggest a flashy, overpowered move. I'll use the black heavenly lightning formation that's deployed in the small training ground. It's a formation that turns the whole place dark in an instant with lightning striking everywhere. Hang shakes his head. No, there aren't a lot of them. There's no need to cause such a huge commotion. What's important is that you capture the head of the revolt, the clan manager. He knows the lackeys will surrender the moment they see he's still alive. To deal with the rest, Hang asks for a weak link among the traitors. They mention a man named Jong Muguk, who treasures his family above all else. He'd betray others again if it's to protect his family. Then, let's get started. The scene cuts to the dark courtyard where the traitorous escorts are waiting for their captain to return. They mutter among themselves, "Captain's late. There are probably no problems, right?" Suddenly, a heavy thud echoes through the yard. Something has been tossed from the sky. The men gather around, horrified. What was that? What's that? A clot of blood? To their absolute terror, the bloody mass starts speaking. Help! Help! The escorts recoil in shock. It's speaking. Is that human? This voice. Captain. That's the escort captain. Panic sets in as they realize their leader, who went to assassinate the weak young master, has been reduced to a squirming mess. The vice captain tries to save face, yelling, "If something happened to young Master Hang, I..." But from the shadows steps Beom Hang himself, completely unharmed. He mocks them, announcing, "That squirming thing is the escort captain. He had a stroke while trying to kill Hang." The vice captain, sweating profusely, forces a fake smile. "Ah, young master, you're safe." Hang stares them down with a terrifying, knowing smile. "Why are you making such a face, vice captain? It's like you've seen a ghost." 6 of the escorts are also making such faces. Is there a problem here? The traitors realize instantly they've been caught. Through inner narration, Hang notes that the situation was handled effortlessly. The treasonous escort squad was subdued without a fight, paralyzed by the sheer shock of seeing Hang alive while their fearsome captain was destroyed. Back inside, Hang rubs his temples, annoyed by the logistical nightmare ahead. But the clan manager, I can't believe he stole half of the Heavenly Grand Archive's assets. Just how much is all that worth? Sigh. How do we get back the books and treasures that have been sent outside? Just then, a voice calls out from the door. Hang, it's me Yoon. I brought Jong Muguk. Hang's eyes darken as he prepares for his next interrogation. Come on In, he commands, ready to dismantle the rest of the conspiracy piece by piece. The episode kicks off with the news everyone's been waiting for. The first young master is dead. The informant confirms it was a suicide. Upon hearing this, clan manager Gwak-do puts on the performance of a lifetime. He wails, "First young master, why have you made such a decision?" He cries about how the people who love the young master will live on, weeping. How am I supposed to live on with this sadness in my heart? But the moment the fake tears stop, his expression turns deadpan. It's because I neglected you. It's my fault. How was my acting? He asks his informant. The informant, who is secretly Jong Muguk playing double agent, praises him, saying it was so good he actually felt the sadness. Gwak-do laughs, casually explaining that since the whole Heavenly Grand Archive will fall into grief, he has to show at least that much sadness too. However, Gwak-do is still a bit suspicious. He asks Muguk why he's out here reporting this when he supposedly refused to leave his family. Muguk smoothly covers his tracks, saying that since today is such a special day, he felt he needed to carry his own weight. Falling for the trap completely, Gwak-do praises his cunning and declares, "All right, let's go to the Heavenly Grand Archive and cry our hearts out." The moment Gwak-do steps inside, reality hits him like a truck. "Capture the clan manager," a voice commands. Gwak-do is completely baffled, screaming, "Didn't he say the first young master was dead?" Standing before him is first young master Beom Hang, very much alive. Hang's grandfather, the patriarch, is also in the room, but he's getting squeamish about the impending torture. "Child, we're neither of the demonic faction nor the Green Forest," he pleads. "How can we interrogate people like this?" Hang calmly tells his grandfather to leave the room, pointing out, "I'm already being very considerate to the guy who tried to kill me." The patriarch nervously exits, begging Hang not to kill the man. The moment the door closes, Yoon eagerly steps up with a giant club, asking, "All right then, young master. Since the patriarch is gone, shall I beat him up more?" Hang sighs, scolding Yoon for still being in the room with a weapon, before turning his full, terrifying attention to Gwak-do. Hang stares down the clan manager. "There are things that can't be explained unless there's a perpetrator behind you," Hang says, demanding the truth. Terrified, Gwak-do spills the beans. They are the Black Troop. He reveals that this secret organization was established by two powerful factions, the Shimin clan and the Azure Moon sect. This is massive news because the Shimin clan is one of the 10 greatest clans in the entire world. Hang isn't totally shocked, noting that the archive's current weakened state makes it look like a free meal that's been placed on the table. Gwak-do explains the full plot. Because the assassination failed, their backup plan was to let the Black Troop infiltrate, destroy the archive, and pin the blame entirely on the troop. To prove he isn't lying, Gwak-do reveals he possesses a physical token exchanged with the Shimin clan, hidden away at his mansion. Hang immediately realizes this is the perfect bait and sends his men to retrieve it. Next, Hang gathers his remaining loyal escorts. These warriors are fired up and ready for bloodshed. "We will risk our lives to fight for you," they roar, expecting a desperate last stand. Hang looks at them with respect. These men are trustworthy. They never wavered even when the archive was crumbling. But instead of ordering them to their deaths, Hang tells them they won't be fighting today. He gives them a bizarre but brilliant mission. "I want all of you to go out, spend a day out there, and come back tomorrow night." He orders them to hit the bars, inns, and street markets. Their objective? spread the rumors that the Shiman clan and the Azure Moon sect have established the Black Troop and are trying to take over the Heavenly Grand Archive. Hang knows that if everyone in the northern part of Anhui is whispering about this by tomorrow night, the Shiman clan and Azure Moon sect will be forced to withdraw their forces and make up excuses to save their public reputation. Just as the plan is set into motion, Jong Muguk and Yoon rush back in, completely panicked. First young master, my apologies. The clan manager's mansion was totally empty. We couldn't find anything at all. They cry out. The place had been completely ransacked, and the crucial token was gone. Jong Muguk begs for his family's safety, terrified of Hang's wrath, while Yoon laments losing their only hard evidence. But Hang just gives a dark, knowing smirk. It doesn't matter if we have the token or not, he concludes. The very fact that the enemy broke into the mansion to erase any trace of the token proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the clan manager was telling the absolute truth. Now, they just need to sit back and let the rumors spread. And that wraps up this chapter. Let's jump straight into the next one. The chapter opens on the bustling streets of the Murim world, and the gossip is absolutely out of control. The citizens are whispering that the Shiman clan and the Azure Moon sect are the true masterminds behind the Black Troop. Some try to brush it off, saying rumors are just rumors, but others point out that there's no smoke without fire. The Heavenly Grand Archive has a massive reputation, and people know something huge is stirring in the shadows. The scene shifts to the beggar sect, where a junior disciple rushes in to report to his seniors. He drops a massive bombshell. He saw the people spreading the rumors retreating right back into the mountains where the Heavenly Grand Archive is located. The beggars lose their minds. Another immediately scolds him, hilariously reminding him, "We, the beggar sect, might have bad breath, but we're not vulgar people." But they all realize the truth. If the usually low-profile archive is spreading the rumors themselves, it means they are stepping up to fight. The senior beggars realize the first young master has become a completely different person, and they declare they are officially on the archive's side. Back at the Heavenly Grand Archive, the mood is much more tense. Yoon and Beom Hang are giving Beom Hang their report. They manage to recover most of the stolen assets, but they are still missing 3 priceless books on trap formations, 2 paintings, and some blue and white pottery. They are absolutely certain the Shiman clan or the Azure Moon sect snatched them up. Yoon and Beom Hang are furious, shouting that the enemies act righteous but are rotten on the inside and need to be punished. But when Hang asks them for a plan to destroy their enemies, they immediately fold. They whine that the situation is hopeless because the enemy factions have too many martial masters. Suddenly, Beom Hang thinks he has a genius idea. Report them to the Murim Alliance. Beom Hang absolutely loses his mind. "You pathetic fools!" he screams at them. He tears into them, pointing out that instead of resolving the issue themselves, they instantly look for others to do the heavy lifting. He coldly tells them, "This is why you'll always be at the bottom of the food chain." Stepping up as the true boss, Hang declares he'll handle this himself and demands all the intel on their enemies. But before they can strategize, a terrified escort bursts through the doors, panting heavily. The Azure Moon sect leader is here along with his daughter, Ban Gyoen. Outside the archive, Ban Gyoen looks around at the cliffs and forests, completely confused. "Father, are we at the wrong place? There's nothing here." But her father, sect leader Ban Guang, just smiles. He sees right through the trick. He explains that the cliff, the forest, and even the clouds in the sky are all fake. It's a massive illusion trap formation. Just as he says that, the air ripples, and an archive escort steps forward to welcome them inside.
Ban Guang steps into the reception room to face off against Beom Hang and the Patriarch. But instead of a tense standoff, the sect leader pulls the weirdest power move ever. He starts laughing like an absolute maniac. He tells them, "I can't express just how happy I am that both the Patriarch and the first young master are there to receive him," completely ignoring the massive tension in the room. The chapter leaves us right in the middle of this bizarre, unhinged laughing fit, setting the stage for an epic battle of wits.
The chapter kicks off with our main guy, Beom Hang, the first young master, deep in thought as he strolls through the courtyard. He's piecing the puzzle together, deducing that the Azure Moon sect likely has absolutely nothing to do with the recent sabotage incident. He thinks back to Lady Ban's father. Sure, the guy has a totally bizarre haha laugh, but Hang senses he's an upright, broad-minded martial artist, definitely not the backstabbing type. Hang figures the sect leader brought his precious daughter along just to prove their innocence and show they harbor no ill intentions. But to get the absolute truth out of the captive clan manager, Hang knows he needs to squeeze some crucial intel out of Ban Gyo in Lady Ban. First, Hang spots Lady Ban having a lively, cheerful chat with his brothers, Yoon and Beom Hang. With a warm smile, Hang walks up and asks, "Lady Ban, have my brothers been respectful to you?" Lady Ban is completely charmed. She smiles and replies, "Of course. The two of them are so pleasant and knowledgeable that I didn't even realize how much time had passed while talking to them." Yoon and Beom Hang laugh nervously, clearly flattered by the praise. Hang then gently brings up the heavy slander circulating around the Jiang, who the nasty rumors claiming the Azure Moon sect is secretly in cahoots with the rival Shimin clan. He assumes she must be shocked, but instead of being offended, Lady Ban covers her mouth and giggles. "Ho ho, not at all. I was cheering from the moment I heard the rumors," she reveals. She happily admits she used the scandal as the perfect excuse to visit the Heavenly Grand Archive again. She even dragged her reluctant father along for the ride when he tried to come alone. Hearing this, Hang is relieved, thinking to himself how lucky it is that she doesn't share her father's grating laugh. Chuckle is honestly just as weird. As the conversation flows, Lady Ban mentally notes how refreshing it is to talk to Hang. She realizes he totally lacks the gloomy, dark energy people expect from the Heavenly Grand Archive's first young master, and he genuinely gets along with his brothers. Meanwhile, Yoon excitedly chimes in, "Lady Ban is truly knowledgeable. She told us about pressure point blocking. It was so interesting." Hang's eyes sharpen at the mention of pressure points. He casually asks a highly specific question. How could she make its effects only appear after a few hours pass? Yoon scoffs, thinking Hang is asking a ridiculous question, saying it's not like an item you can just pass along. But Lady Ban surprises them both. "It's not totally impossible," she explains. She reveals that, according to her father, there is a legendary technique known as the delayed blocking technique. Once performed, the effects only trigger much later, exactly like a ticking time bomb. Armed with this massive clue, Hang knows exactly how the traitorous clan manager was incapacitated. Wanting to talk serious business, he feigns annoyance, accusing his brothers of teasing him and playfully barking, "I don't want to see your faces. Get lost." Yoon and Beom Hang immediately scamper away, shouting that they're running away. Lady Ban sharply realizes Hang cleared the room on purpose. Hang drops the act and gets serious. He admits he's been stuck in the archive for too long and politely asks her, "Could you please tell me everything you know about the Shimin clan?" Sometime later, the visit concludes. The Azure Moon sect leader warmly thanks Hang for his hospitality, promising to invite him over someday. As they walk away, Lady Ban looks back, her expression utterly bewildered. She whispers to her father, "Gyo-in, about the first young master? Isn't he a little strange?" When her father asks why, she mentally pictures Hang's face contorting as he lets out a completely ridiculous laugh. She notes that he looks perfectly normal on the outside, but his laugh is just absurd, and he doesn't even realize it. Back at the archive, Hang is radiating an intense, intimidating aura. He knows they are up against the Shimin clan, one of the 10 great clans of the Jianghu. He realizes the Shimin clan is underestimating them, arrogant enough to believe the archive is too weak to fight back. But Hang smirks. He plans to use their arrogance against them. Combining the archive's lethal trap formations, Beom Hang's vast knowledge, and his own unparalleled experience as the former Murim Alliance leader, he vows to ruthlessly stab at the Shimin clan's opening. His dramatic, world-conquering inner monologue is suddenly interrupted when his brothers notice him spacing out. They wonder if he's deep in thought about a grand plan, or maybe he's just love-struck over Lady Ban. Songhua, Hang's ever-stoic shadow guard, casually shuts that down. With a deadpan face, she states Hang is obviously thinking about. Hang immediately snaps out of it, his eyes sparkling, and declares, "But supper is always the correct answer." He excitedly tells Songhua they are going to eat all the food they want tonight. The light-hearted mood shifts slightly as Hang calls Yoon and Beom Hang over. With a serious tone, he gives them a strict order. "I'll give you 2 days. I want you to expand the external trap formations beyond the cliff." When asked why, he calmly states it's just to ensure their defense is tight in case something happens, leaving his brothers slightly bewildered but compliant. The scene cuts to a dark, dreary dungeon. Hang stands before the captive clan manager, who looks exhausted and terrified, begging to be released so he can sleep. Hang coldly ignores his pleas and demands. "When you were planning this, were the people of the Azure Moon sect or the Shimin clan with you?" The trembling manager stutters, confessing he only received orders from the first young master of the Shimin clan. He reveals the damning truth. The Shimin clan's plan was to frame the Azure Moon sect, while having him destroy the Heavenly Grand Archive from the inside. Hang processes this massive revelation. With a chilling, deadpan expression, he looks down at the traitor and ominously mutters, "I see. I just wanted to ask you about it." Nothing will happen, leaving us completely on the edge of our seats as the chapter comes to a close. The chapter opens with our brilliant protagonist Beom Hang calling his brothers Yoon and Beom Hang for a serious meeting. Yoon eagerly asks why they were summoned. Hang perfectly sets the bait, saying he is in need of a messenger and called them because he needs their help. Hearing this, Yoon gets completely hyped up, believing Hang is finally following the epic advice of the shaman they visited. Beom Hang excitedly asks what kind of advice he received. We get a hilarious brief flashback showing exactly what the shaman told Hang. The old man literally just screamed the word "run" and bolted out of the room. Back in the present, Hang calmly explains that it is obvious they need to run from the Shimin clan. Even though they caught the general who infiltrated them, Hang logically points out that proving the Shimin clan is guilty would be difficult. Plus, if they continue to cause conflict, they really could be faced with blood. Hang completely shocks his brothers by declaring they should send a messenger as a peace offering and end things now. Yoon and Beom Hang absolutely lose their minds. Yoon screams, asking how Hang dares to send a peace offering to the Shimin clan. He points out they suffered so much and asks if Hang is fine with just leaving things be, especially since those guys tried to ruin their family. Beom Hang joins the outrage, deeply offended that Hang is fine with bowing down to the Shimin clan. Hang drops his intense facade for a second and asks what is there to fear about death and if living peacefully is not an option. Realizing they overstepped, the brothers quickly apologize. Hang calls them idiots but reassures them he is doing this all for their sakes, then violently screams for Songhua. Songhua bursts through the door armed with a giant bat ready for war, but Hang just awkwardly tells her to clean the room. Hang drafts his incredibly sneaky message. He writes to the Shimin clan head, pretending to be worried about the rumors regarding the Shimin clan and the Azure Moon sect. He purposely words it to show the archive bowing down to the Shimin clan. He plays the victim card, claiming they failed at something they thought would be easy. Hang knows that since the general is caught and there are rumors plotting around, the Shimin clan would be willing to end things here if the archive bows down. He is positive they will ask to meet and talk. Suddenly, a panicked guard bursts into the room, screaming that it is an emergency because the general is having a seizure. While the guard freaks out, Hang just smirks like an absolute villain and says, "Perfect." We jump back in time to the night before. Hang is alone, observing his hands and noting that the rate at which his body is shrinking has gotten much faster. He celebrates successfully learning the body adjustment technique, which allows him to apply a pressure point shift with just a single touch. He notes that all that is left is to add the stealth technique to his newly mastered skill. He recalls the conversation where Lady Ban mentioned the delayed blocking technique, noting that very few people know about it. Hang explains the genius behind this. The stealth technique is completely unknown because the target will never know when they have been targeted by a pressure point shift. He realizes if he can utilize the time delay, he can quietly retaliate against the Shimin clan. Needing a test dummy, he orders his men to release the captive general from his ropes. Back in the present, Hang tells the panicked guard to go find out what exactly is going on, fully aware his delayed technique worked perfectly. Hang grins menacingly, promising the Shimin clan that he will make sure they pay for their actions. The perspective shifts to the lavish headquarters of the Shimin clan in northern Anhui. Strategist Baek No is reading Hang's letter. Shimin clan head Shimin Chu arrogantly laughs, thinking the Heavenly Grand Archive is scared and wants to apologize for the rumors. Chu decides they have no choice but to end things here. Just then, the Shimin clan young master Shimin Ung walks in. Chu hands him the message and tells him to take care of things. Chu maliciously advises his son to welcome them but force them to depend on the Shimin clan. He explicitly orders Ung to invite Hang to the main house, knowing the location will heavily pressure the archive. Ung takes it a step further. He suggests inviting the children of nearby families to host a grand banquet. He sneers that if they act like everything is fine, it will completely humiliate the archive. Chu absolutely loves this evil idea and laughs loudly. Back at the archive, Beom Hang reads the official reply and explodes with rage at how shameless the Shimin clan is. He yells that they seem polite on the surface but are actually incredibly arrogant. He screams, asking if that is not exactly what they mean, while coughing in absolute fury. The brothers sob in frustration, feeling utterly defeated. Hang holds the letter and dramatically cries right along with them. But internally, Hang is grinning from ear to ear. He realizes a crowded banquet is the absolute perfect cover to use his stealth body adjustment technique on a massive scale. Acting completely overwhelmed, Hang tells his brothers he needs some time alone to think and wanders off into the city streets with Songhwa. Songhwa looks worried and asks if he can just decline the invitation. Hang laughs confidently and tells her not to worry because he has his own plans. They stop at a food stall. Songhwa enthusiastically asks for shrimp stir-fry, but Hang completely ignores her and orders pork belly instead. As they sit down to eat, a group of arrogant rich thugs at the next table start loudly complaining about the smell of poor people. Hang confronts them, and one thug aggressively grabs Hang by the collar, threatening to kill him just for talking back. Hang just smiles a dark, deadly smile and gently taps the thug's chest, applying his stealth technique. The thugs arrogantly mock the Heavenly Grand Archive, oblivious to the ticking time bomb Hang just planted inside them. Hang chuckles to himself, totally confusing Songhwa. He then calmly tells her to buy the most expensive alcohol they have and casually walks past the bullies. The thugs angrily yell for him to stop right there, but we, the audience, know they are already digging their own graves. The scene opens with a tense standoff in the bustling streets. The rugged disciple of the beggar sect glares at our young master Beom. He steps up and demands answers. You stared us down as if you had something to say, and you just walked away. What is wrong with you? Beom remains perfectly calm and replies, I think you have the wrong person. I do not think we know any beggar like you. He adds smoothly, the courtesan can stay quiet. The beggar insists, turning to Beom. Young Master Beom, tell them. Beom sharply retorts, I do not think I ever gave you permission to stare at me like that. The beggar questions him further. And yet you laughed at us. What is the reason? Beom politely shrugs it off. If my staring has made you uncomfortable, allow me to apologize. There was no particular reason. I just happened to see the two of you relaxing on the side of the ride, and I thought I would remember the faces of two skilled individuals like you. Hearing this, the other beggar thinks to himself in absolute disbelief. Ah, I cannot believe it. He really was looking at us. I was wondering why he went to the pork belly place. So he was there to attract our attention. The first beggar squints at Beom with deep suspicion. However, the more I listen to you, the more it looks like you know us. I do not think your Heavenly Grand Archive and our beggar sect are associated with each other. Although I should not, I feel like something feels familiar about you. Have we met somewhere before? Beom simply smiles and answers, of course. Beom recognizes the man instantly in his mind. Shi Unji, the great disciple of the beggar sect leader, Guno Xingye. I have seen him before because of Guno Xingye. Shi Unji then gestures to his younger companion. This is my disciple. I believe this is your first time meeting. The young disciple on Angi suddenly steps forward with fiery energy. Is there something you want to say to me? What is wrong? Do you want to race with me? I want to see who is faster. Shi Unji panics and grabs the kid, yelling, What? Are you crazy? Beom observes the boy quietly, formulating a plan. This is your disciple? Although I did not see him often, there is no way I would forget someone who left a first impression like that. Although he does not look like much, He is considered to be the next leader. He is skilled in martial arts, and his influence in the alliance is immense. If I can have him help influence the beggar sect, it would help in facing the Shiman clan. Putting on a friendly face, Beom says cheerfully, "Haha, whether we know each other or not is not important. What is important is that we get to know each other." He smiles and gestures towards a waitress. "Although it is nothing much, I prepared a drink for you. I may need your help in the near future, so I will see you soon." The waitress nervously approaches and serves them. "Here you go." Shi Unji is taken aback. "I am Shi Unji, the head of a branch of the Beggars Alliance. There were not any great drinks at the place. That is why you bought this." The young kid on Angi laughs, enjoying the free drink. "Hey, I kind of like this kid. I am on Angi. Why did you only buy one drink? I thought you were rich." Beom smoothly replies to the greedy boy, "If you come visit the Heavenly Grand Archive soon, I will be sure to prepare better drinks for you." Eagerly on Angi asks, "Then why do not we go now?" Shi Unji grabs him to stop him. "Why not later?" The kid whines loudly. "Why?" Beom turns to leave and explains his tight schedule. "Cannot right now. I need to get ready to attend the banquet of the Shiman clan." The scene transitions back to the Heavenly Grand Archive estate. "Make sure you do not forget a single thing. Songhwa, take care of my brother, got it? You better not leave his side for a single moment." The servant Songhwa bows deeply. "Do not worry, young masters." Yoon clenches her fists fiercely. "If someone from the Shiman clan comes, I will make sure they learn their lesson." Their brother Beom steps in calmly to defuse her anger. "Nothing will happen. Stop worrying and let us go." Beom bids them farewell. Then Yoon, "Beom, I will see you when I come back." His siblings watch him leave with concern. "Of course, please be safe during your travels. Take care, brother." As the carriage rolls away, Beom sighs heavily. "Brother, do you think he will be okay? I hope nothing happens to him on the way." Yoon reassures him confidently. "Do not worry, he is not like other people. I am sure things will work out." Beom suddenly remembers something exciting. "Also, did not you mention that we had some good news?" Yoon lights up with joy. "Oh, a message from Ju Yang. He said he plans to come here soon." Beom thinks excitedly about the visitor. Ju Yang, the second son of Silver Bank's manager, the richest person in Zhongbei, and our brother's only best friend. When Big Brother was busy with work, he managed to give and take messages whenever he had the chance. Their friendship is stronger than most. Beom asks Yoon carefully, "Do you think we should keep the fact that Ju Yang is coming a secret?" Yoon nods in agreement. "Yeah." Big Brother Ju Yang said that he wanted to surprise him. Beom grins widely. "Okay, I will do my best to keep it a secret too. If we can take care of the events with the Shiman clan, we should only have good fortune in the near future." Meanwhile, at the Shiman clan estate, the atmosphere is dark and sinister. Shiman sits with his stepbrother Pyo Laochin. Shiman says with a smirk, "Brother, you seem like you are in a good mood." Laochin replies while playing his instrument, "HM? Haha, of course." Shiman praises him. "Laochin, whenever I listen to your performance, I see a grand spectacle in front of my eyes. Really, it is spectacular." Laochin looks up with a twisted smile. "Thank you, brother. I wonder what the scenes you are seeing are like. I am curious." Shiman visualizes the destruction of his enemies. About that, the scenes of people dying as they beg for their lives, as their family heirlooms and precious treasures get stolen, and as the beautiful gardens burn to ashes. Such a beautiful scene. I hope I can see such a sight with you, brother. It is the sight of your family falling down. Shiman thinks to himself mockingly, to look at the eyes of your enemy and call him your brother. Idiot. This is how you will fall. Along with the Heavenly Grand Archive. Although they are considered one of the 3 great archives of the region, it does not matter. Even though they have learned the truth, they have no choice but to apologize. A servant interrupts his dark thoughts. "Young master, the guests have arrived." Shiman stands up gracefully. "Understood. I will go see them myself." He turns to Laochin. "Laochin, be ready to play during the upcoming banquet." Laochin bows. Of course. As gratitude for accepting me as your brother, I will be sure to give a wonderful performance. Shi Min-ung walks away thinking maliciously. I am so glad that he has already gone ahead and bowed his head down to me. Outside the grand hall, the announcer declares loudly, "Next is the Heavenly Grand Archive." The crowd immediately turns their attention to Beom. Whispers and greetings fill the air. "Young Master Beom, it is good to see you again. Long time no see." "Beom, young Master Beom, how have you been?" Beom smiles politely at the familiar faces. Lady Ban, Lady Myo, and even Jang. A large cheerful man approaches him loudly. "Ha ha ha! To think I would get to see the famous young master of the Heavenly Grand Archive. It is good to see you." Beom thinks to himself as he observes the group. "These people." The large man introduces his companions. "Allow me to introduce them to you. I am Wang Sohun of the Continental Bank. I am Dan Kongmu of the Iron Society." Another man steps up with a serious expression. "I am Mak Gung of the Ogu sect." Beom evaluates the factions in his mind. The Continental Bank, the Iron Society, and the Ogu sect. Wait, the Iron Society? Was not that the place where the society leader wanted to display a sword? I declined the offer at the time because I already had 3 swords on display. I never thought I would get to see someone from the Iron Society like this. Wang Sohun interrupts his thoughts with a booming laugh. "However, you are a lot different than what I thought you would look like." Beom looks confused. "Are you talking about me?" Wang Sohun laughs heartily. "I thought that you would be a creepy man with an attitude. But I cannot believe you are a calm individual like this." Beom sweat drops internally. This dumpling-looking guy does not have a filter. But looking at his attitude and composure, it does not look like he has bad intentions. "I was worried since I heard the Continental Bank and the Shimin clan had business dealings. I guess I will not need to worry about him." Suddenly Mak Gung scoffs loudly. "Humph! The audacity of the Heavenly Grand Archive." Beom stops and looks at him. Mak Gung glares at Beom with absolute disgust. "Should not you at least act depressed or something? You caused the Shimin clan to be involved in those impossible rumors. Do you think you are welcome to an occasion like this?" Lady Ban gasps in shock. "Young Master Mak, why are you trying to cause a scene? That is rude of you." Mak Gung snaps back angrily. "I am rude? No matter how you look at it, the Heavenly Grand Archive is the one at fault. Even a 3-year-old child could tell who is at fault. Can you not?" Lady Ban tries to argue. "Young Master Mak." Beom gently stops her. "Stop, Lady Ban." She looks at him with worry. "But young Master Beom." Beom smiles calmly. "As you said, this is not the place to talk about this." He thinks sharply to himself. "The Ogu sect. I heard they were a sect that supported the Shimin clan. Looks like they are loyal dogs of theirs." Beom then speaks out loud with a sly grin. "If he is barking like this, he must have had something bad for lunch. Do not you think we should stray away if we would prefer not to get attacked by a loose dog?" Mak Gung turns red with rage. "What? D-dog? Did you just?" Wang Sohun bursts into roaring laughter. "A dog? The analogy you used is great. Ha 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 ha." Lady Ban tries to cover her mouth but fails. "Pfft. Young Master Wang, you should not laugh at this. Pfft." Right at that moment Shimin-ung steps out to greet the crowd. "Seems like everyone is here. Brother Shimin, thank you for coming all the way here. Now please enter the banquet hall." Wang Sohun waves happily. "Ah ha ha ha. Brother Shimin, how have you been?" Mak Gung immediately bows respectfully. "Allow me to greet the young master of the Shimin family." Shimin-ung greets everyone flawlessly. "Nice to meet you, Brother Shimin. Thank you for the invite, young Master Shimin. Long time no see. I am looking forward to this banquet." Finally Shimin-ung stands directly in front of Beom. "I believe this is the first time we have met." Beom looks at him carefully, thinking, "This bastard, the young master of the Shimin clan, Shimin-ung." Shimin-ung smiles warmly, though his eyes say otherwise. "Welcome, young master of the Heavenly Grand Archive." Beom matches his fake smile perfectly. "Thank you for the invite, young master of the Shimin clan." And that wraps up this detailed breakdown, folks. The tension is completely off the charts as Beom finally comes face to face with the manipulative Shiminong. The scene opens with Beom chewing his food, while keeping a cautious eye on Shiminong. He wonders what Shimin has planned, fully expecting to be disrespected in front of the guests. But Shimin has not made a move yet. Beom knows there is no way Shimin will just let him be and questions his true intentions. Suddenly, someone announces they will show a trick to make drinking more enjoyable, asking everyone to look at Lady Myo's empty glass. The crowd cheers in amazement as Myo Garyong uses qi to enliven the drink, which Beom finds very impressive for a child. This sparks a friendly competition, and everyone starts showing off their own party tricks. Ban Gyo shows off pressure point shifts. Shiminong flawlessly displays his sword skills using a single drop of alcohol, leaving the crowd completely amazed. Beom hilariously sweats and wonders if Shimin is secretly planning to stab him. Mok Gung warms up a drink, while Wang Sohun and Dan Kongmu show off a formless sword technique. Then it is Beom's turn. He decides to flex an ancient acupressure technique called the heavenly palm pressure. Wang questions what mere acupressure can do, but after Beom works his magic on him, Wang completely melts into a puddle of bliss, claiming it feels exactly like heaven. Wang declares he has been reborn, practically glowing with pure energy. The crowd goes wild, begging Beom to massage them next. Beom politely calms them down, smoothly suggesting that their host, Shimin, should be the next one to experience it. Shimin agrees, and Beom promises to do good for him with a very sinister smile. Beom internally notes that Shimin called him here to act like nothing happened, but he fully intends to take care of him using the body adjustment technique combined with the stealth technique. Shimin completely falls victim to the amazing massage, moaning in absolute relief. The crowd is shocked to see the incredibly prideful Shimin succumb to Beom's hands. Suddenly, Wang screams for Beom to stop what he is doing. He angrily accuses Beom of giving Shimin special treatment, knowing exactly how big of a difference the body adjustment technique makes. Beom is slightly annoyed by the dumpling man but uses the outburst to announce he will host the next occasion to make up for it. Wang laughs out loud, claiming that was his plan all along, and insists the next party will absolutely be at the Continental Bank. Beom thinks Wang is a persistent fool but feels satisfied that he accomplished his goals without any major incidents. As Beom prepares to leave with Songhua, Shimin stops him for a private chat. Shimin asks how the banquet was, and Beom politely thanks him for the invitation. Shimin then reveals his true intentions, offering to send Beom the clan manager. Shimin claims he wants to receive punishment for scratching the pride of the Shimin clan. He explains that forcing the manager to talk was way too difficult, so he is pushing the problem entirely onto Beom. Beom thinks to himself that Shimin is an absolute idiot for giving up their only piece of evidence, assuming Shimin is just terrified. Beom agrees to prepare the clan manager within a couple of days. Then, Shimin drops a massive bombshell proposal, asking Beom to become his sworn brother. Beom is utterly disgusted internally but bursts into fake, hysterical laughter to brush the offer off as a joke. Shimin plays along, saying they can talk about it later, but insists Beom is already a brother in his heart. Once outside, Beom laughs maniacally, highly tempted to just kill Shimin right then and there. Walking back in the pouring rain, Songhua asks if Beom wants some good food to wind down. Suddenly, the little beggar boy Xiao Xingye drops upside down from the ceiling, screaming that he wants food too. He formally introduces himself and says he was ordered to follow Beom around. Beom asks why they sent him, and the kid bluntly explains the others are currently sleeping on the streets. Beom smirks and tells the boy to have his superiors sleep on the streets near the Shimin clan tonight. When Xiao asks why, Beom simply states there is going to be a show. Back at the estate, Shimin relaxes in a luxurious bath, reviewing all his gifts. He appreciates the high-quality drinks and the beautiful silk cloths. He is especially pleased with the 12 needles from the Iron Society, thinking his mother would love them. He then notices the distinct scent of sandalwood coming from the Heavenly Grand Archives gift box. He opens it to find 3 books, smugly assuming they are the exact texts he already stole using the clan manager. He identifies them as the Enlightening Regalia Formation, the Universal Evil Spirit Formation, and the 6yang-9 dragon formation. But when he flips them open, the pages are completely blank. Shimin is absolutely furious, wondering what those bastards are thinking and briefly considering reporting it to his father. He tries to rationalize the blank books as just a small sign of their discontent that he should simply accept. But suddenly, extremely dark and volatile energy bursts violently from the blank pages. The massive blast blows Shimin straight out of the water. Covered in blood, he thrashes and screams in agonizing pain as the dark energy violently tears through his body. He crashes out of the room, leaving a horrific bloody mess on the floor, while the guards outside remain completely unaware of the carnage. The scene opens in the dimly lit quarters of the Shimin clan. A skilled doctor carefully examines the terrifying, mutilated state of Shimin Ung, sweating profusely as he tries to understand the grotesque changes in bone and muscle. The doctor asks, did you make your enemy? The young master's condition is not caused by an excess of energy but by someone else. If they are able to perform a pressure point shift as great as that, they must be skilled. Do you suspect anyone who is capable of doing this? Shimin Chu snaps back. Don't hide it and tell me. We have to know who might have done it to create a contingency plan. The Shimin have plenty of potential enemies, but we don't have any real enemies. We have managed to clean up all of our messes before, so where did we go wrong for this to happen? The doctor replies, I don't have a clue as to who might have done this, but I am sure you will find them. For now, I will be sure to stay behind at the Shimin clan manor and look after the young master. Shimin Chu tells him, Thank you, I will never forget this favor. After I prepare, I will return. As the patriarch violently stomps away, the doctor's mind races, absolutely terrified by the sheer skill of the unknown attacker. The doctor thinks to himself, the person who conducted the pressure point shift is no ordinary human. I can't comprehend how he managed to utilize the hundreds of roots created by the blood flow within the young master's body for it to cause such mutations in bone mass and shape. The only thing the young master did today was open up a banquet for guests. The fact that nothing happened during the banquet means this is delayed blocking. There is no other explanation. If it is delayed blocking, then whether it was done today or the day before, we have no means of knowing when he was hit with the pressure point shift. We can't even find out who the assailant is or how skilled they are. Shimin clan head, who did you mess with this time? Outside the estate in the pouring rain, the beggar spies observe the utter disarray of the Shimin household. The young beggar boy, Xiao Xingye, hangs upside down from a tree, looking thoroughly bored. Xiao Xingye points out, it has been a while since he has gone in, but he is not back yet. The Shimin clan manor seems in disarray too. Seriously, don't tell me he got caught by the Shimin clan. We have no choice. Guess I will have to be the next head. Shi Unji casually agrees, sure, you can be the next head. Xiao Xingye suddenly realizes, the young master from the Heavenly Grand Archive was right. Something interesting did take place. Brother, the eldest of the Shimin clan was mutilated. It was like looking at a pile of meat. Shi Unji wonders aloud, whoa, how did he know that something like that was going to happen? We will have to ask him to figure that out. Since we are done here, let us return to the Heavenly Grand Archive. Xiao Xingye suddenly leaps from the tree, flying through the air with pure joy and shouting, whoa, I want to go to the Heavenly Grand Archive. La 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 la, I am flying. Shi Unji snaps back, hey, can you just shut up? The scene shifts to the Heavenly Grand Archive, where the beggars are absolutely devouring a massive feast like they have never eaten before. Xiao Xingye exclaims, hey, I have never had meat like this before. Bring us some drinks. Don't you remember that you only gave us a single bottle last time? This completely enrages Beom's fiercely loyal brother, Beom. Beom yells, what is wrong? Have some respect. Big brother is here as the successor to the archive. He is here as a representative of the clan. What kind of disrespect have you shown him? You have no fear. Do you? Do you know who I am? It doesn't matter who you are. You should respect him. Youngsters don't understand how scary the beggar sect is. Do they? Do you want to die? Big brother, I have no choice. I will be sure to teach them some manners. Beom calmly permits him. Go ahead. I will be waiting. Beom Hang immediately begins thrashing the disrespectful beggar, dragging him outside while scolding, seriously, you fear nothing? If you apologize right now and get me a drink, I will forgive you. Okay? I will teach you some manners. On Angie screams, wait Master Ugh. While Beom Hang handles the discipline, Beom takes a quiet stroll through the estate with Shionji. Songhwa suggests, young master, let us go for a walk. Beom replies smoothly, as you please. Shionji asks, how did you know that would happen to Shiminong? Beom laughs. Divine retribution? Kahaha. Shionji pushes further. Stop the nonsense and tell me. Is there someone greater backing the Heavenly Grand Archive? I will keep it a secret, so tell me. Who is it? If I knew you were such a great individual, I would have asked you to take care of the Shimin clan. Beom questions. Why would I ask for outside help? Shionji pauses. Guess? Now that I think about it, you are not wrong. Did you kill Shiminong? Beom smirks. Are you? Perhaps talking about me? Then, Shionji suddenly uses his special visual technique to scan Beom, but his vision shatters. His all-seeing eye is completely deflected by Beom's overwhelming hidden power. Shionji reacts, what is wrong? Ha. It is you. My all-seeing eye has been deflected? Did you find a secret book? Were your worries about life or death all an act? Beom instructs him, follow me. I have something to show you. Beom leads the beggar chief deep into a hidden prison cell within the archive. Inside sits the battered, defeated clan manager who betrayed them. Beom explains, he is the one who worked with the Shimin clan and destroyed our archive from the inside out. There are plenty more like him, but we have already gotten what we wanted from them. Shionji chuckles, I knew it. I knew my guts were right. You already knew? Did you already look into the Shimin clan? Even if I tried, I can't. I only know that the Shimin clan was involved with the Pyo family head. You should be able to expose everything with this. What are you going to do now? Beom states, I am going to invite the patriarch of the Shimin clan to our archive. Shionji is confused. Invite the Shimin clan? Beom elaborates. They will have no choice but to come after the messages and gifts I will send. However, I will need you to bring some incredible people yourself. Shionji asks, won't you have a better chance by asking my master instead of me? Beom finishes, these are people that you know well. First, back at the heavily guarded Shimin clan estate, the patriarch is desperately trying to salvage the situation. A servant approaches, Patriarch, we have restored the pieces of the destroyed book. Shimin Chu demands, what were the books? The servant stammers, they were 3 books from the Heavenly Grand Archive. However, it was empty. Shimin Chu is furious. What? Are you saying those Heavenly Grand Archive fools played us? The servant replies, it seems so. In addition to that, the Heavenly Grand Archive has sent a large crate and a message through the Pacific Transport Agency. Shimin Chu orders, the Heavenly Grand Archive did? Open the crate. The guards rip open the wooden crate, and a foul stench instantly fills the room. Inside sits a horrific, twisted mass of flesh and bone. A guard gags, Kook, the smell. The servant points, sir. This. Shimin Chu realizes in horror, it is the same as Ung. The patriarch reads the attached letter, and Beom's cold voice echoes through the narrative. Beom writes, Shimin Chu, hear me. The heavens have not forgiven you for your crimes, and as such, your first son, Shimin Ung, has received punishment. The archive has decided to not send the clan manager. However, since we have made arrangements instead of sending away the clan manager, I will send the escort commander and the deputy commander. Even if you are a fool, I am sure you know what this means, as well as what will happen to your son. Shimin Chu's face contorts with unparalleled rage and absolute fury. He crushes the letter in his hands and roars to the heavens. You bastards! Black Troop! Tonight, we will eradicate the Heavenly Grand Archive. The stage is set for an all-out war. The episode kicks off with an absolute bang as a massive explosion rocks the front gates of the estate. Through the thick dust and debris, the furious patriarch of the Shiman clan marches forward, leading his elite assassins, the Black Troop. He screams into the night air. Shiman Patriarch Heavenly Grand Archive, are you ready to face off against the Shiman clan? He laughs maniacally, his eyes burning with pure rage. Beom steps out to meet him, looking completely unbothered by the army standing before him. Beom, I am certain we sent presents and a letter of peace via the escort agency. But why are you so full of murderous intent? Shiman Patriarch, spare me the nonsense. Are you the one responsible for what happened to my son? Beom remains perfectly calm, flipping the blame right back onto the furious father. Beom, Shiman Patriarch, do you want to believe that I am the one who did it? The person who destroyed Shimanong is you, his father. You are not here because you have a grudge and want to seek revenge, right? The patriarch grits his teeth, drawing his weapon as his murderous aura completely surrounds him. Shiman Patriarch, you and that darn mouth of yours. Just keep talking to your heart's content. You will not be able to do so after tonight. Does this mean the Heavenly Grand Archive will be coming to its end tonight? Beom sees right through the Patriarch's political games and exposes his entire master plan out loud for everyone to hear. Beom, after the guys in black behind you destroy the Heavenly Grand Archive in the name of the Black Troop, the Shiman clan will probably appear later on to show your condolences and take the Heavenly Grand Archive for yourself, right? Shiman Patriarch, it seems you are not that stupid. Huh? But you will not be able to get out of this even if you have tricks up your sleeve. I will now show you what hell looks like. Just as the Patriarch is about to order the attack, a mysterious and incredibly powerful voice echoes from the rooftops. Azure Moon Sect Leader Cole, Shiman Patriarch, you are being so harsh with your words. I cannot believe you are someone who could say such vicious things as if it is nothing. If you meant what you said, I will be able to see your sword techniques in person. The Patriarch freezes in absolute shock. He looks up to see the Azure Moon Sect leader sitting casually on the roof. The Shiman assassins start panicking, wondering how this legendary figure knew they would be here. Azure Moon Sect leader Cole, I am not the only one here. Suddenly, multiple powerful figures emerge from the shadows, completely surrounding the Shiman forces. Flame Pavilion Master Shiman Patriarch, how can you be so shameless? Shiman Patriarch, I had hoped this would not be the case, but to think you would confess it all yourself. The Patriarch sweats profusely as he recognizes the absolute titans of the martial world staring him down. Shiman Patriarch Flame Pavilion Master and Bakwa Manor Master, Continental Finance Manor Vice Master, and Iron Society Leader. Bakwa Manor Master, what a horrifying person. I cannot believe I tried to arrange a marriage with such a clan with my family. I trusted you until I saw this madness. But the biggest shock comes when an old, battered man steps forward from the crowd. The Patriarch is completely speechless. I definitely chased you out of this land. How are you here? I drove him out because I had feared he would get in my way of getting true authority within the clan. How did they find him and get him here? The Azure Moon leader laughs heartily, completely amused by the Patriarch's terror. Azure Moon Sect leader, haha. Sir Beom, seeing as how the Shiman Patriarch is in total shock, everyone that you asked me to gather must be all incredible people, huh? Beom, this is all thanks to the beggar sect's help. Shiman Patriarch, what do you intend to do now? It looks like you will not be able to climb out of this hole you dug. Would not it be wise to kneel down quietly before something worse than that happens to you? Cornered and desperate, the Patriarch lets out a sinister chuckle. He refuses to surrender. Shiman Patriarch, hoo-hoo. This is definitely exasperating. Honestly, I would be lying if I said I was not surprised. Did you think I would come empty-handed when I am facing the Heavenly Grand Archive? Prepare the Thunder Crash Bomb. The gathered leaders gasp in absolute horror as the Black Troop pulls out highly destructive explosives. Continental Finance Manor Vice Master, the Thunder Crash Bomb. Iron Society Leader, even though the Heavenly Grand Archive is a fortress that is filled with bizarre trap formations that are out of the world, you will not be able to withstand all these Thunder Crash Bombs. Just one bomb can turn 2 pavilions into ashes. Beom stares at the explosives, completely unfazed. Beom, Shiman Patriarch, are you intending to blow the mountain away? Shiman Patriarch, what is wrong? Starting to feel scared? Beom simply claps his hands together and smiles warmly. Beom, I was disappointed when I thought you came empty-handed, but to think you brought thunder crash bombs. The Heavenly Grand Archive will happily accept that gift of yours. I will tell you the rest of the details after you have fallen. The Patriarch looks confused for a split second. Shaman Patriarch fall? What nonsense are you speaking of? Suddenly, a guard screams in sheer terror. Guard P. Patriarch. The ground is falling. In an instant, the very earth beneath the Shaman clan shatters, plunging the entire army into a pitch-black, endless abyss. The assassins scream as they freefall into the dark void. Shaman Patriarch, there is no way this is happening. This must be an illusion. As he plummets through the darkness, the Patriarch tries to regain control of his panicking men. Shaman Patriarch, everyone, calm down. This is not really happening. This is just an illusion from the trap formation. Calm yourselves down. Guards P. Patriarch, please help me. One of his own men falls toward him, and the ruthless Patriarch violently kicks him away in mid-air. If he falls on me, I will be injured. The Patriarch frantically analyzes the situation as he falls, using his logic to fight the terrifying magic. Shaman Patriarch, it is still fine. The ground still looks very dark. And to begin with, the Heavenly Grand Archives mountain is not that tall. If this was really their mountain, then in the time we fell, we would have hit the ground several times. This tells me that this whole situation is an illusion. Do not get tricked. This trap formation is just deceiving our senses. Meanwhile, back in reality, the guest leaders watch in absolute awe as the entire Shaman army writhes on the ground, trapped completely inside their own minds. Bakwa Manor Master, they are falling right now, right? Seriously, this is such a sight. To simply say that this is incredible is an understatement. The Heavenly Grand Archive is not known as the Fortress of the Heavens for nothing. Beom watches his masterpiece unfold, incredibly satisfied with the results. Beom, I am glad I told you to expand the external trap formations from the cliff to the whole mountain. While they knew the Heavenly Grand Archive is hidden using trap formations and illusions, they do not know that trap formations cover the entire mountain. Inside the illusion, the terrifying ground rapidly approaches the falling army. Guard C. We are about to reach the ground. In the real world, the assassins suddenly cough up blood and die instantly from the sheer shock. The guest leaders are completely stunned by the brutality. Continental Finance Manor Vice Master, wait. How did they die when they are in an illusion? Iron Society Leader, is it because they are unable to get out of the illusion? Beom explains the terrifying truth behind the archive's ultimate defense. Beom, it is because one's mind is one with their body. Even though they are just in an illusion, how can they not believe that they are falling when they are seeing it with their own eyes? The moment they accept the illusion as reality, they will receive a similar impact on their minds as the physical impact they received in the illusion. The archives escort Commander bows respectfully to Beom. Commander, the escort squad and I will clear this area up. Beom, yes, sir. The guest leaders watch Beom with a newfound mixture of deep respect and terrifying fear. Iron Society Leader, the Heavenly Grand Archive's first young master, has no hesitations. Huh? It is as if he knew things would turn out like this. Maybe. The reason he called us here is not to protect them from the Shaman clan, Azure Moon Sect Leader, but to show us the truth as to what would happen to the Shaman clan. The episode ends on a grim and chilling note as Beom walks among the fallen Shaman soldiers. Commander Sir Beom, while some of them are gravely injured yet still breathing, we will only be extending their pain by helping them. I wonder if we could end their pain for them. Beom, of course. The commander smoothly draws his blade and swiftly slices a dying assassin's throat. As the man takes his final bloody breath, he mutters one last word. Assassin, thank you.